What is going on, guys? Houndish here, and today Trials of Osiris is back in Destiny as always for another weekend. So this week's map is Frontier, which is a pretty cool and very wide open and pretty big map in general, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But before we talk about anything else technical, the loot for this particular week in Trials is helmets at 5 wins and the shotgun Binary Dawn at 7 wins. So if you want either of those, this is the week to play. So Frontier is a wide open map and there's very long and open lines of sight, as always with Destiny maps, but as well as this there's a lot of tricky kind of narrow lines of sight with some head glitches and generally complicated structure in terms of engaging on the map, both at range and, you know, a kind of close range as well. So Frontier is certainly a sniper dominant map, both in terms of its kind of size and range, but also because of the narrow lines of sight it's much more difficult to challenge a sniper with, say, a scout rifle, because as a sniper you can pop in and out of those lines pretty quick and land shots obviously zoomed in at a target, and this is kind of one of the main reasons sniping is more dominant on the map, as well as just the sheer size like I said before. And although it is tricky on this map, you'll still need to kind of get to those common engagement lines quickly as a sniper. So the right side of Alpha Spawn is pretty common engagement across kind of the boxes either side of the bridge, and then across the bridge itself is always a common engagement space. But with kind of hills and cover around the map that you get, a lot of people will use these spaces to their advantage, and obviously when you're playing you want to do this as well. And this is another map with kind of varying options. If you lose a particular engagement in a certain space, you can switch it up a fair amount on this map and, you know, move around quite a lot. But overall, as a sniper, you kind of need to know your skill level as always and challenge accordingly. And unless you're very confident on this map in particular, don't kind of double peek hard scopers, you know, when you're sniping. That's something to consider as well. But like I was saying before, with all the cover on the map you can push up to enemies pretty close, and it's worth having a good close range weapon on this map as well, especially kind of since range primaries aren't as useful with kind of the sniping, the amount of sniping that happens on the map. So things like Doctrine and Last Word come in pretty handy for those close range combats, because like I said, you know, there are those kind of tricky ins and outs and different levels and things blocking up the map. And if you use shotguns, obviously you need to avoid sniper lines a lot and push very cleverly, and that's all I can really say for shotgunning on a map like this. If you're not sniping, be very aware of your effective kind of engagement range on the weapons you have. It's also worth paying attention to any icebreakers that the enemy team may have. You know, on a map like this that's so large, you don't want any kind of nasty surprises on the first round. So the heavies on this map spawn pretty equally in the center of the map, and there isn't kind of an obvious heavy spawn kind of linked to either of the spawns, so you have to be pretty decisive as to where you're going and be vigilant, as well as, you know, there are a lot of lines of sight to the heavies, and also people will move around, you know, the map in general to get to different heavies because there's not an obvious place to go, so people will kind of bump into each other a lot more during heavy rounds, and you'll have a lot more gunfights while approaching heavies on this map. But overall with this map it really comes down to trying to use the cover and the space in the map to your advantage. You know, move around the map as much as you can, because it can get pretty standoffish at times whilst kind of confronting at those sniper kind of lines across the map. So overall it's a pretty fun map, and it can be kind of more chaotic in some respects than other maps. You know, you've got those tricky long lines and then a lot of cover up close, you know, if you do get closer to the enemy, and if you've got kind of players spread out across the map as well, it can be hard to track people, but it does make it pretty fun, pretty interesting in general. So anyway guys, that's just some things to think about playing on Frontier. I hope you guys found the video useful, and let me know down below what you think of Frontier for Trials. I think it's pretty cool. Let me know how you've got on this week inside of Trials of Osiris. But if you have enjoyed the video, drop me that like and comment down below, and if you're new to the channel, you want to see a lot more Destiny content, then feel free to hit that subscribe button for a lot more. But for now, you guys have an awesome weekend inside of Trials.